Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. Today, let's together take a look at the Artiphon Orba, a musical synth gadget from 2020. And I really wanted to compare this to other musical gadgets in this price bracket, but I couldn't find anything. So instead, let's compare this to an actual grapefruit, which informed the design of this instrument. Here we go. As you can see, the Orba is roughly the size of a grapefruit, which informed its design. It's only half as high though. On the top of the Orba, there are 8 touch-responsive buttons for playing notes and a menu button in the middle, which activates the secondary key functions printed onto the case. The grapefruit, on the other hand, is a fruit. On top of it, there's a funny little dimple, and the skin looks really nice and it smells really good. Which you can't say about the Orba, which is a 4-part multitimbral 12-voice polyphonic synthesizer with a built-in sequencer. This means it can play 4 different sounds at once: drums, bass, chords and lead, while playing 12 notes max. The grapefruit can only produce thudding sounds, and technically its polyphony is 10 as the number of your fingers. On the side of the Orba, there are buttons for adjusting the volume, a power button that doubles as a Bluetooth sync button, a USB-C connector for charging and synchronizing, and a 3.5mm audio jack. On the side of the grapefruit, there's only its skin, but you gotta admit, it looks really nice. Also, this is only $1, while the Orba is around $100, so you could buy 100 grapefruits instead of the Orba. On the bottom of the Orba, you will find a built-in speaker, which is quite loud, but not very bass-heavy due to its tiny size. On the bottom of the grapefruit, there's a small button and a hole where the flower used to sit. The Orba is also battery powered, and depending on how you use it, the battery will last up to 1 day. The grapefruit, on the other hand, can last up to 1 month if you store it correctly. One main selling point of this gadget is its responsiveness. Hold the menu button and press the bass pad for selecting the bass sound. Depending on what the sound designer implemented, you can, for example, change the filter cutoff frequency of the sound by sliding your finger across the pads. You can also modulate the sound by tilting the device. In this example, this will add a chorus effect to the sound. And last but not least, shaking the device will add vibrato to the sound, or will play a shaker sound on the drum track. Shaking the device while holding the menu button will erase the track you last recorded. Tilting and shaking the grapefruit, on the other hand, will do nothing special. You will need to add external gear like a juicer or rasp to see effects here. Let's record a track now. To do so, I'll hold the menu button and press the record button. The maximum length of a track can be 16 measures of music. The Orba will start looping the track once you reach that limit. Alternatively, you can also press the menu button while recording to end the sequence and start overdubbing. And while I'm recording, please listen closely to the overall sound quality and how notes are muted when I change tracks. Next, let's take a look at the app, which is available for Windows, iOS and Android on their respective app stores. You can connect this to the Orba by USB-C or Bluetooth. One thing that immediately stumped me here is that the app wants to know your location, and it won't work unless you allowed it to access your GPS. Why is that, Artiphon? Do you want to see if there's a relation of music style and country? Anyway, in the app you can adjust the hardware and MIDI settings of the Orba and also update its firmware. On the main screen, you can switch between the 4 tracks, which is immediately reflected by the LEDs on the device. On the left side, there's a Browse tab. You can select songs and patches here. A song is a collection of 4 patches plus the tracks you recorded. Here, you can also save the tracks that you created to your PC or phone. The second tab allows you to mix up the sounds a bit, so you can choose sounds for each track individually. At the moment, it's not possible to create your own sounds, though the community already found out on Windows the sound files are stored as XML files in your home directory, and there are already open source editors for creating sounds. Artiphon, on the other hand, chose to spend its time creating a video editor for TikTok maybe, which by all regards is a very strange move. On top of the screen you can select the key for your song and its tempo, and there are buttons for recording and playing you'll never use because they are close to the edge of the screen and you always miss them. By the way, the grapefruit has no USB or Bluetooth connection, so there's no app available. On the other hand, it has plenty of vitamin C, which might or might not strengthen your immune system, which the Orba has not. Okay, so that was standalone mode. Now let's take a look at the MIDI capabilities of this device. Okay, let's have a look at the MIDI capabilities of this device. So I've connected the Orba to my MIDI converter here, and the MIDI out goes into my Novation peak, and then the MIDI through of the peak goes into my mod drum. And yeah, so now the peak is listening on channel 16 and this device is listening on channel 1, and now you can just hit the pads and hear some sounds. And then I've also connected the Orba's audio out to my recorder, so I can play the bass and the lead on this machine. And using the internal mixer of this thing, I've muted the drums, the drum track and the chord track, because the chord track will play melodies or chords on the peak, and the drum track will send to my Node drum. Okay, let's try this. Here we go. conclusion. At the moment, if I was to describe the Orba in 2 words, that would be untapped potential. On the plus side, the hardware is great and overall the device is inspiring and fun to use. You can come up with new ideas within seconds, and both the app and the Orba itself are easy to pick up and to use. The built-in speaker gets the job done, and the battery has plenty of power to get you through the day. The size of the device is appealing too. It doesn't take up a lot of space in your travel bag. Seeing MIDI support on such a device is highly welcome, and getting a polyphonic and multitimbral virtual analog synth in this price range is quite astounding. Overall, I really like the concept and its hardware execution, as all the touch and tilt sensors are quite precise and responsive. On the minus side, there are some strange choices on behalf of the developers. Notes get cut off when changing tracks, making ambient jumps hard to pull off. The app needs GPS turned on to work. Quantizing isn't possible, the synth seems capable, but you can't edit the sounds. There is no instant track muting, and in MIDI mode, the Orba sends program change commands every time you switch tracks. And also, the developer seems to focus on lifestyle features more than on musicians' need at the moment. On top of all of this, the noise level of the headphone jack is really high. You could argue that this is okay for a device in this price range, but then again, you can buy smartphones for half the price, which have much better audio quality. Verdict: overall, the Orba is a great idea. It's highly unique and reasonably priced. In my opinion, it's usable as an inspiration machine and for making music in short breaks. And yet, it could be so much more if some of the cons I mentioned were ironed out. So perhaps wait another year and keep an eye on the open source community surrounding this and on firmware and app updates. But if you don't mind the problems I mentioned, this device can be a lot of fun and a source of musical ideas you'd normally not realize. Oh, and the grapefruit is great too, of course. Just don't wait a year to consume it, that won't go down well. Yeah, and that's it for today. Artiphon Orba, what do you think about this device? Please write it down in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching and see you again very soon. Bye bye.